What training do tutors currently receive on working with students with disability and neurodiverse learners?
So I know one training that has been set up in the past has been with the Office of Accessibility Services. Joe, my supervisor, has worked with OAS to provide training for our tutors. I can't say it's been consistent every semester. So that's one area that I know our tutors have received professional development on. The other area that's more recent is in light of our department being certified by the College Reading and Learning Association, that has put us in a position to provide more training opportunities for staff, for tutors across the board. And more specifically, two of the trainings that fall under CRLA that are in development and we will be providing to tutors is one training on neurodiversity and another training on universal design for learning. Obviously, both of them are related, but the goal of those trainings is not asking the tutors to be neurodiverse specialists or UDL specialists, but mainly to raise awareness, and the trainings are customized or adapted so the tips and strategies and ways of knowing about these populations can be used in their sessions. So that's currently what we have, and for every new tutor that comes on board, they will receive that training on neurodiversity and universal design for learning. And once they complete it, the goal again is to have them at least be aware that when they're working in a center such as ours at a public community college, it's letting them know that there are different ways and different strategies to work with different types of learners, but also telling them that when they step into a learning center or a tutoring center such as ours, it's a microcosm of society. And when they step foot in here and they begin their shift, they are going to be working with all types of learners, with different cognitive abilities, with different learning abilities, physical abilities, motor skills. So it's equipping them with the awareness, but again, not asking them to all of a sudden and expecting them to be specialists. But I know having a specialist is a conversation certainly that's relevant to this discussion.
Okay. Question 2. What additional training, resources, or tools do you believe would be most benefit to tutors in this area?
Two come to mind, and I know this also is at the mercy of budgets on campus, but I know other colleges across the U.S., they have in their learning centers, they have full-time designated specialists that are there to work with the students that they're there for. Like I know at certain colleges they have ESL or ELL specialists to help train their staff and to work with students, work with that particular population, ELL populations. So similarly, I know that there are departments who have academic coaches or who have certain full-time specialists who work with the staff of those centers, namely the part-time staff, but training them perhaps more consistently on working with neurodiverse populations. I know like UNC Chapel Hill, I believe they have ELL specialists. I know at Rutgers they have not just tutors, but alongside the tutors they have academic coaches. So I've always felt that that it would be really great and a real benefit to our staff if the college here at Queensborough Community College, they would invest in opening full-time lines that are specialist lines that are designated as, for example, UDL specialists or specialists with who has a background in working with neurodivergent student populations. If we had a full-time staff member here, I think that would be a major benefit. If they come in with their experience, they can share ways and their expertise with our staff. And I actually have been on the receiving end of that at my other job at night, they brought in a full-time staff member, similar to what Joe has done, my supervisor has done with OAS. That full-time staff member provided insights and a real expert perspective on neurodiverse and UDL. I'm just thinking, imagine if we had that in-house all the time and that person was working alongside us with those trainings. That way, tutors could potentially get more consistent training if we had someone in-house full-time, just like with the other full-time staff members. And then I think I said the other thing was just in general, having our department maybe provide more consistent trainings on UDL and neurodiversity. We do that. I think we do a good job doing that in our department, where we bring up the same themes or the same concerns every year. But I think when it comes to UDL and understanding different types of learners and the needs of different learners and the different abilities of learners, and the fact that, again, in a learning center or in a community college, but specifically in a tutoring center, it's a microcosm of society. Having those ongoing, consistent trainings targeted on certain areas, that would be a benefit to our staff. And I know we make efforts to do that.
Sorry. Question 3. Would you support the creation of a resource manual, a micro-learning modules, or webinars teaching focus on disability inclusive training practices?
Yes, wholeheartedly. I would support the development of all of that. I think that would only benefit our staff. I think the term, micro-learning modules, if they're self-paced, however they're created, if tutors have that availability and it's ongoing, that keeps the staff sharp, it keeps their awareness up. Any sort of additional resources that can be created. We do have a manual in my department that the staff contributes to developing and revising over the years, but that encompasses everything. I think having certain manuals or certain series of trainings that target particular areas, instead of just a one-shot deal for an hour, the series can be developed and tutors can complete it at a pace that corresponds with their work schedule. They can complete it throughout the duration. Is that more, that involves a commitment, but again, I think that would align with our commitment to professional development. My director, Stefan Spezio, he prioritizes professional development for our staff, and I think the more resources that we provide, such as more modules, webinars, if there's more of an intentional effort to utilize different resources, that aligns with particularly resources that deal with that address neurodiverse populations or understanding UDL. That aligns with what am I getting at? Our focus on being student-centered. I think if students learn, or if our staff, including myself, I'm not an expert whatsoever, but the more we learn about UDL and neurodiversity, that just helps us expand our understanding of being student-centered. So yeah, if we have those in place, a manual, webinars, whatever we want to create, even a podcast. I know learning centers have podcasts. That keeps us close to being student-centered, and it expands our understanding of being student-centered, which is, I think, ongoing. So yeah.
Thank you.